G'day guys, Michael Santalab here. I just wanted to welcome you to this presentation. It's just a brief presentation on the Corona stimulus package, and we're predominantly looking at small business aspects of the package. Okay, there is a little bit of individual items at the end of it, which I'll go through briefly, guys. So let me just get started. Now, before I get started, I just need to share my screen. And I need to do this disclaimer, guys, that the material I've prepared here is for information purposes only. It's not intended to provide and should not be relied on for any tax, legal or accounting advice. And you should consult your own tax, legal and accounting professional or advisor before engaging in any transactions. Okay, now the formalities out of the way, let me get started. The first topic I'll cover, guys, is the instant asset write-off. Now, previously, the asset write-off limit up to the 30th of June was $30,000. The government has increased this threshold to $150,000. So basically, for any new or second-hand assets purchased up to this amount, your business is able to claim a tax deduction immediately for the amount that you've paid for the asset. Now, it is a per item limit. So if you buy 2 or 3 items that are less than the 150, you can actually add them all together and claim it all as a tax deduction. Now, what I will say, this is not a payment to you, but this is more so an incentive to generate economic stimulus and to get people spending money. So if you're in need of an asset or you're in need of assets for your business below the 150 threshold and you're looking at spending, there is a tax incentive or a tax saving to be made should you wish to purchase anything before the 30th of June 2020. A major incentive which was introduced pertains to PAYG withholding tax. Now, the government is basically giving eligible businesses $50,000, or actually in effect $100,000 in the reduction of PAYG withholding tax payments, which are payments withheld on behalf of staff with their wages. Now, each employer will receive 100% credit for any of the PAYG withholding obligations that are payable, okay, and up to a maximum of $50,000 per employer. Now, let me just say that this does not include any GST exemptions and it does not include any income tax exemptions, okay? Now, let me just have a quick example of this. Now, let's assume in your next BAS, you've got a $40,000 PAYG withholding obligation. The ATO will credit you for $40,000, so you'll have nothing to pay for that PAYG obligation for that quarter, okay? Now, on the flip side, it is limited to $50,000. So if you do have let's say $120,000 obligation, you'll only have to pay $70,000 after applying the $50,000 of ATO credit. All right. Now, from a BAS perspective, let's assume that your withholding obligation is $40,000 and your GST liability is $18,000. You'll have a total of $58,000 to pay. Now, after applying the credit, as you can see, the ATO credit of $40,000 basically nullifies the obligation of $40,000, and you're only having to pay the remainder GST liability of $18,000. Now, depending on whether you're registered on a monthly or quarterly basis for your wages or withholding obligations or your BASs, will determine the type of treatment and the type of payments and when you will receive them. Okay. Now, if we look at the quarterly registration, in your next BAS, which is the March 2020, you'll receive 100% credit of the PAYG withholding for the total period. Now, the total period is 1st of January to the 31st of March, okay? And the same will apply for the June 2020 BAS, okay? So you'll receive a credit for the 100% of the total PAYG withholding for the period of 1st of April to 30th of June, okay? Now, a reminder that the total amount of credit that can be applied to any of your withholding obligations from the 1st of January through to the 30th of June is $50,000. Now, if you're on a monthly activity statement basis, then in the next BAS, which is the March quarter, you will receive a credit of 300%, so 3 times of your PAYG withholding obligation that you have for the month of March. Now, basically, the reason this is that the ATO doesn't want people to go back and start amending activity statements and so forth, and it's basically allocating and counting for the January and February IASs as they've already been lodged, okay? Now, if we look at an example of a monthly BAS for the month of March, okay, before the rebate happens, you got your monthly obligation of 10,000 for withholding, you've got your 18 grand of GST liability, so in effect you've got a $28,000 payable liability for the March BAS. After the rebate, as you can see, you've got your monthly wages tax obligation of 10,000. If we triple that amount, the ATO will give you a credit, and you're only basically looking at the GST liability of 18,000. So in effect, when you net this all off, you'll have a $2,000 refund. Okay. Now, any credits that are available through this scheme, guys, will be made available on the 28th day after the following following the BAS due date. Okay. So for the March BAS, the relevant first credits will be available on the 28th of April. Now, following on from the March BAS, if you're on a monthly lodgement system, okay, in the April, May, and June months, you'll basically receive 100% of the withholding obligations for each of those months. Okay, bearing in mind that the total credit still available is only $50,000 from the period of 1 March through to the 30th of June. Now, in addition to this, guys, businesses who receive these types of credits will also qualify for additional payments. Now, the tax office actually introduced this, realising the business is going to slow down. Okay. Now, to qualify for the additional payments, you basically must continue to be active and continue to lodge your monthly and quarterly BASs and IASs. Okay. Now, the PAYG withholding credits that will be issued to you between the period of March and June will basically be doubled. Okay, up to $100,000 cap. So when you hear the government saying they're giving small business a $100,000 handout, this is where it applies. Okay, so if you max out your $50,000 credits from the period of March to June, you're basically going to receive $50,000 between the period of July and October. Okay, now how these payments will be structured to you is as follows. If you're in a quarterly lodgement system, you'll basically get half on the 28th of July and you'll receive the other 50% on the 28th of October. If you're on a monthly system, the payments will be split into 4 equal payments received on the 28th of each month from July all the way to October. Now, part of the stimulus package, which is a pretty cool one, is for businesses who may be registered as an employer, okay, before the 12th of March, but their staff doesn't earn enough, or essentially earns under the tax-free threshold amount, or you don't actually have any staff at the moment, you're still eligible for a $20,000 payment from the government. Okay. Now, if you're registered as an employer but not required to withhold any withholding, you will automatically receive $10,000 credit to your ATO account when you lodge your March 2020 activity statement. Okay. Now, following on from that, you'll receive an additional $5,000 when you lodge your June BAS and when you lodge your September BAS. So in effect, you're receiving $20,000 over the period from March all the way through to the end of September. Now, a few other items, guys, we'll touch on. The first one relates to small business, and it looks at apprentices. So if basically the government is going to give people who employ eligible apprentices up to $21,000, and it's essentially there to cover half of the apprentices' wages for the period of January to September. Now, bear in mind, guys, $21,000 isn't a lot, but it will contribute towards some of the payments should you require the services of an apprentices. Now, the apprentices must be registered prior to the 1st of March 2020, and to receive this type of payment, you need to be registered and you need to apply for this one separately with the relevant apprentice board or the government authorities. Okay. Now, in respect of the individual side of it, the stimulus is offering $750 support payments. So anyone receiving settling payments, including family tax benefit, will receive 2 types of payments of $750 each. One first payment 13th of April, second payment on the 10th of July. Other items which part of the package include the coronavirus supplement. Now, essentially, guys, if you're a permanent employee and you lose your job, if you're a casual, if you're a sole trader, and you're currently making less than $1,075 per fortnight, you may or will be eligible to receive a supplement payment of $550 per fortnight for the next 6 months. Now, honestly, the criteria and the eligibility and who satisfies what needs to be taken up with Centrelink, guys. It's all the applications are done through Centrelink, whether it's online or face-to-face. And if you're in a situation where you've lost your job, or you're a sole trader or casual, then guys, get on the phone, get online, check it out. For casuals and sole traders, the process will be a little bit easier. You don't need to go through the job seeker process. You simply just need to apply for the supplement. Like, as I said, I don't know what the requirements from Centrelink are in respect of, prior lodgement of prior tax returns, of income and assets tests. I know they will waive it for casuals and sole traders. But guys, please check the eligibility criteria with them, and if it applies to you. Okay. All right. So look, I hope this has helped everybody. I know it's a pretty chaotic time for any person essentially in society at the moment, whether you're a small business owner like myself or whether you're an employee. If you've still got your job, if you've been sacked, guys, I know it's a big state of panic, and it's something we haven't experienced before in our lifetime. So I just ask everyone to remain calm. We're all fighting this together. If you have any questions, guys, or if you need me to do any background work for you, research for you, to see what I can find in relation to your scenario, shoot me a message, email, anything. Just get in touch, and I'm more than happy to help. Like I said, guys, I'm working part from the office, part remotely. I'm homeschooling my 3 kids at the moment as well. We're all in the same situation. We're all fighting the same cause, guys. We're going to get through it. So if you need anything at all, or if you need a network of business owners who want to be part of a conference where we can bounce things off each other, simply just let me know, guys. I'm looking at setting one up. All right. So guys, stay safe and healthy. That's the main thing. Be around the people you love, and I'll see you all soon.